And your brain picks on that. And it makes it even more unlikely for you to come back to a place where you are calm. So today we are going to do some calming techniques. I'll teach you some things that you can do to calm yourselves down, okay? One of the easiest ways to calm yourself down is breathing. Simple breathing. I know they always say, oh, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And we're like, what is this? I'll explain how that is. Who has ever been afraid or who's ever panicked significantly before? You'll notice that when you panic so much, you tend to breathe much quicker. So your breathing increases. So that phenomenon is you're breathing much faster to burn more energy. Because supposedly you need energy to face whatever challenge you're in. And like I explained, the brain is saying that you're in some form of danger. Okay? When you're going to bed, your breathing changes significantly. You take long, deep breaths when you are sleeping. See, like now we're breathing more like in and out, in and out. When you sleep, it's more like in, out for a long period of time. So the brain is able to understand that and says that we are sleeping. Our breath has changed to long breaths, which means relaxation. So you can use the same trick to calm yourself down. Wow. You can use that same trick. And I'll teach you a couple of breathing techniques. The very first one we're going to do, I want all of you to put one on your chest, one hand on your stomach, and let's have a look at something. Okay. So we're going to breathe in, okay? Breathe in and out. Let's do it again. Breathe in, and let it out. You are all not breathing well. You know why? Your chest is moving. No, when you're doing, we call it diaphragmatic breathing, okay? Those are deep breaths. It's your stomach that moves first. Because your lungs are not here, they are down. So in diaphragmatic breathing, your stomach will fill first before your chest. So you have to all practice, because that is the kind of breathing that gives that potency of relaxation, okay? So diaphragmatic breathing, your stomach will move first before your chest. Now, we have a number of them. We call something either the square breathing, okay? And in square breathing, all you do is, if you take in air for 5 seconds, you let it out in 5, in that sequence, and you call it like you're going through a square, okay? Now, the one I really want to teach you can also make you sleep. It's called, and by the time we're done, a lot of us will start yawning. So just prepare, okay? We call this the 4-7-8 breath. Okay? 4-7-8 breath. So we're going to inhale air as we count to 4, and then we're going to hold it. So pardon me, you breathe in as we count 4. So I say breathe in 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you hold it there. So air is not going in, air is not coming out, and we count till 7. And then you start to let it out, but you don't let it out. The usual would be, and let it out, and you just drop it. In this instance, we don't do that. We're going to let it out very gradually as we count 8. Does that make sense? Yes. So we breathe in once we count 4, we hold it for 7 seconds, and then we let it out as we count till 8. Don't worry, you don't have to count. I'll do the counting for you. And I won't do it because I don't want to sleep. I've done it so much that once I do it, I'm just like, I'm gone. So because you are new to this, it might take some time for you to start. Okay, so we're going to start. Are we ready? Yeah. So breathe in and 1, 2, 3, and hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great first round. Let's go for a second round. Okay, so breathe in and 1, 2, 3, and hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Well done, guys. Well done. Now, notice this. The reason why you hold is in diaphragmatic breathing, the diaphragm actually moves, okay, and sits on something we call the vagus nerve. Now, once it sits on it, is the yawning has. I told you. Didn't I say the yawning will start? Very good. It's okay to yawn because you've done this, and it also means that you did it very well. Okay, it means you did it very well. So, once it sits on the vagus nerve, it stimulates the brain to release all those feel-good chemicals that says everything will be fine. So just before you go to stage, you find that your heart is beating. Pum, 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 pum. Take your time and just do some breathing. In the breathing, remember, the longer the breath, the more it pauses the action of the heart. When your heart starts to beat, your brain will say we are in danger. There's a problem somewhere. But you can manually control that by taking in these long, deep breaths. And then you start to confuse the mind. But how can my heart be beating when I'm breathing so slowly? No, then it means that all is well. And then you calm down. So that's one amazing technique for calming down in the face of anxiety. Breathing. There are other sequences of breathing that I'll teach in other interactions that we will have, okay? Now, when you're under a lot of stress, what do you do? What do you do? What works for you? Let me ask that way. What works for you? I'll tell you what works for me. Video game. Yeah, so I love video games.
Singing and music.
Singing and music, good.
I think praying and movies.
Praying and movies. Wow. Writing.
I let everything out. My
Excellent.
poetry and
Excellent.
movies. Yeah.
Excellent. Yes.
Sleeping.
Sleeping, okay. It's interesting that you're able to sleep during stress. Then it must not have been that stressful. Okay.
I also sleep too.
You also sleep, that's
Also,
good.
my brain, I'm just sleeping. I'm relaxed for myself.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes.
For me, nothing seems to work out.
Hey.
Even if I'm sleeping, the brain is talking plenty and I'm all over. So nothing seems to work out for me.
Very good. Don't worry. Today we'll stop that for you. Something will start to work. Now, in all that you said, there was something I noticed which was important, which is that you stayed present. You see, when you're writing, you're staying present. When you're singing, you're staying present. And being present means that your brain is not wondering and thinking about possible situations or what? Problems. As you all sit here, I can tell you your biggest problem. Or your biggest fear or your biggest worry, I can tell you. Should I tell you? Okay. Prophet Seth will start working. I tell you, this is what it is, and you can all relate. Your biggest problem is not now. It's about the future. I lie. Your worries about the next minute, the next hour, the next day, the next month. That's where your problem is. Exactly. That's the reality. And that tells you how powerful your brain is. Consistently diving into the future where you have no control. And then your imagination starts to run wild. So I told some people that if you start imagining that there's a wild creature chasing you, okay, in your mind's imagination, even if you jump a wall, the creature will develop wings and fly over the wall, which keeps that worry, that fear, that anxiety just going on and on and on and never dies away. And the easiest way to get around it is to do what? Stay present. Keep yourself focused on something. It can be as simple as asking yourself, what is the color of this room? The moment you start to look out at the colors and name them, your mind starts to come back to its present. We call it grounding. You start grounding yourself so your mind is not what? Running away. There are other extreme ways like pain. If you pinch yourself, how does it feel when you pinch yourself? Your mind comes, you are brought back into reality very quickly. It's like when you're sleeping in a car and the driver decides, I'll teach you a lesson, bumps a huge pothole. You notice that you don't just wake up, but you wake up very alert. Yes. Okay. That's essentially how these things work, okay? So you can be mindful, and there's so many mindful activities that we'll also do as we go on. But remember that whenever you think about the future, you are taking the resources that you have in the present and you are comparing them to the future, and it never works because you have no idea the opportunities that tomorrow brings. So just before your mind goes into the future and tells you how terrible things will be, tell your mind, my guy, chill. Today is all I have. I want to get through today. I want to deal with today. And when tomorrow comes, I do what? I deal with it. So today, we have learned a little about mindfulness. We've learned a little about breathing. And we've learned a little about how our mind can sometimes trigger responses even though they are not real. And let this be your companion as we go into this battle. In the same light, it's important for you to recognize that you are not defined by what the outcome of this is. It's not a definition. In fact, it is a plus. Because what it says is that you are not where you started from. You might not be where you aim to be, but you've definitely gained. And the analogy I create is sometimes we tell ourselves a lie, where you say, I want to be able to save 100 cedis, and then you end up saving, say, 50. And then you beat yourself down. I couldn't save 100, I failed. So the 50 is no money. The 50 is no money, eh? So you realize that if you look at the bigger picture, you realize that you're gaining. I want you today to start acknowledging all the simple things. Reward yourself for all the simple things that you do, all the steps that you have taken, all the steps that you take as you go on this journey. I want you to reward yourself for it. I want you to tell yourself that I have been empowered, I am being redefined, and whether I win the crown or not, I leave here a different person. And that's all we need with this positive era. All the same, acknowledge also the negative. Bring it into awareness, but don't dwell on it. Don't get into a space where when you have any of these emotions, you're like, no space for negativity. That can become toxic positivity. And that could be a form of denial. Denial is one of those things where, they tell you something, you say, tofiakwa. Whether it's tofiakwa or fiatokwa. The issue is there. It is happening. And it's good that you acknowledge it. Bring it into awareness and say, I'm going through something. I'm going through some fear. I'm going through some worry. There's something that's disgusting me. But do not what? Dwell on it. It's been really nice interacting with all of you. Oh, I'll miss you. Of course, so if you have any questions, sure, go ahead.
Mr. Seth.
Yes.
Sunday is eviction.
Yep.
Let me sit well and talk.
Very good.
And then after the eviction, we don't know who is going home at this moment.
Yeah.
After Sunday, if anyone happens to go home, you've now gone out. You have your phone with you. You have people calling you. You switch on your phone, then bunch of messages. You did this, you did that. You go on social media. You go on TV3 page. They posted you. People are bashing you here and there, trolling you. As a psychologist, please, what advice would you give to us?
Awesome question. Very good question. Very practical question. So remember I said something that we control what we can. There is no way on earth that we can control what people would throw at us. But there's one thing we have control over. Whether we choose to resonate or relate to what they are saying or not. I would say that if you think that you don't have the heart to go through it, don't go through it just yet. After all, you would have been going through a huge transition of being evicted in the first place. Give yourself some time. It happens with any kind of loss. Look, even I call this positive loss when people are getting married. Do you know why it's a positive loss? Because your independence is taken away from you. And that is a positive loss. Because you can no longer operate as a singular unit, but you have to. Now, lots of people grieve this process. Allow yourself the time to say, I've been through something significant. I'm no longer part of this program, which is a change. But it does not define you. It doesn't make you a failure. Be careful about the labels. Sometimes we put labels on ourselves. And a label is any word that you tell yourself so consistently. I'm so stupid. I'm so foolish. The more you say these things, you only start to see yourself or the person you put the label on in terms of that label. We have friends we call conceited or too known. Look, even if they greet you and they say, hello, good morning. This is how you hear, good morning. Because of the label. It's simply the label. So you have to be extremely cautious of the labels that you're telling yourself. Like I'm saying, you have been through a significant transition. Don't be in a hurry. Many people have not been through it like you have. On that note, we draw the curtains on today, and we'll definitely interact again. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Are we off now?
All sporting disciplines matter on Warm Up Plus.